Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be doing somewhat of a whiteboard session, I would say. It's not going to be anything flashy or fancy. I just want to talk to you guys about the grid system and latitude and longitude, for the simple reason that I'm planning on doing a series about land navigation, and for that it's pretty important that you understand how this works, right? So let's get started. On the left we have a globe, and on the right we have a globe. Let's start on the left. We're going to be talking about latitude first. Now, if we look at the globe, you will see that we have an equator. An equator is basically a red line that cuts the planet in half, and you have the northern hemisphere, which is up, and you have the southern hemisphere, which is down. Alrighty. Now, we made this imaginary line and we decided that this is 0 degrees and this up here is 90 degrees and down here is minus 90 degrees. Alrighty. And then from there we have a whole bunch of imaginary lines going all the way up, right? And going all the way up to the North Pole. And the same going down to the South Pole. Alright. Now, what's that for anyway? Well, first of all, back in the day when people were sailing the globe, they needed to kind of figure out where they were, right? So these lines help them, because if you look at the position of the sun and you have equipment looking like this thing, and I think it's called a sextant, right? You can see, based on the position of the sun above the horizon, how far you are off of the zero line. And if you then know that this is divided into 90 degrees up and minus 90 down, you can say, okay, I'm at minus 70 or at plus 80 and so forth. All right. So that's the first part. And keep in mind that this is the first part of the coordinate system you will see, for example, in Google Maps. Something like 39.2854, whatever, right? Okay, and we'll get into that later. All right. Okay, now that we know that, it's nice to know how far you are to the north or south of the equator. Problem is, how far are you to the west or to the east? Well, that's where the second thing comes in. And in that case, we're talking about the longitude. Now, the longitude is slightly different because we are talking about vertical lines. We got a zero line, which actually runs directly through Greenwich in the UK, but it's not visible on this map, right? And then from there, you have lines running like this, okay? So they go from pole to pole, like that, right? And I know the drawing's horrible, but you get the idea. And same thing this way. All right. Now, going to the east, right, it runs from 0 degrees to 180. Alrighty. Going to the west, it goes from 0 degrees to minus 180. And together that's 360, which makes sense because we're going around the globe, all right? Now, that's the second part of the equation. So if you have a coordinate that says 39 degrees up, you go up 39 from the zero line, and you're here somewhere. And let's say we want to go to the left. So Greenwich, UK, which is, again, not visible, would be the zero line. And we're going to go to the left. Let's say, I don't know, 138 degrees minus, right? Otherwise it wouldn't be to the left. And then we'll end up somewhere around, I would say around there, probably. Okay. So if you see a coordinate system, it would be something like 39.2854 followed by, I don't know, minus 138.54, etc., right? Now, that again would put us somewhere around here, and I'll show you in Google Maps in a minute, right? Now, another thing that's helpful to know is these lines on the right here, right, which is the longitude, they go around towards the east and then go around and come back here. Each vertical line is 4 minutes in time. So if you're looking at a map and you see that the 0 degree line running through Greenwich, you see that one, the first line to the right would be 4 minutes plus, and then the next one 8 minutes, and so forth and so on. Going back the other way, it will be minus. Now, the thing is, though, that countries made an agreement and said, well, we're not going to have different time zones based on 4 minutes. We're just going to agree when it's plus or minus an hour, just to make it more convenient, all right? Okay, so let's jump into Google Maps. I'll get an example here, and then we got that covered. All right, guys, so we've got a map of the US, and just to be clear, if we're looking at Greenwich, that's somewhere in this area. That will be our 0 line, right? And just to give you an idea how close that is, I'm going to right-click on London here, and it says it's 51 degrees going up from the equator, and then going minus 0.64. So that's very close to the 0 line, right? Now, let's look at our example. We're going to go to the US. We're going to go and look for Denver. All right, so Denver is right here. I want to know what the coordinates are for the city of Denver. Right click, 39, which is 39 going to the north from the 0 line equator, and then going to the left or to the west, 104 degrees. So we're in Google Maps again, and we kind of want to figure out, okay, so we have coordinates 39 degrees and minus 105, right? Well, we're going to go and look for England, right, which is here, and Greenwich would be right about there. And then we're going to go down to where the equator is. Now, the equator runs just underneath this tip at Liberia. So from this point, you would go up 39 degrees, which we can't see here because we don't have grids displayed. And I'll show you that in a minute how that works. But we would go up 39 degrees, and then we go to the left because it's minus 105 degrees. And we'd move, 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 move until we hit Denver, right? So that's how that works. I'll show you with the meridian lines displayed, and that will make a lot more sense. Here we go. Okay, so here's a pretty cool example. So if we go up from the 0 line on the equator, and we go up 39, we're between this marker and that marker. So we're somewhere in this area. And I know I need to go to the left, so this area right here, which totally makes sense, right? So there you have it. So that is very important to know when we get into the whole grid system. I'm going to be doing a multiple part series on land navigation. What's a compass, how to use it without a map, how to use it with map, and some tips and tricks, okay? So that's it for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments if you did, and you know where that sub button is, right? Thank you. Bye.